Hello, I'm Dosajna, certified astrologer, and this is the astrology for the Sun ingressing into Scorpio on Saturday, October 23rd, 2021. This will occur on the Pacific Coast on October 22nd, Friday at 9:51 p.m., and on the East Coast at 12:51 a.m. on Saturday, October 23rd. This chart is set to 9:52 a.m. at Greenwich, England at Greenwich Mean Time. The house system is the whole house division. Because we are dealing with a universal event that happens to everyone around the Earth simultaneously, we focus less on house placement and more on how the planets are interacting with one another in terms of the zodiac. Therefore, we are using the whole house division system. First off, I want to talk about the energy involving Scorpio, how long we're going to experience this energy, and how to utilize it to the best of your abilities. To start off with, the Sun plans to be in Scorpio for around 30 days. Remember, the zodiac has 12 signs divided into 30 degrees each. And because the Sun moves approximately 1 degree per day, it logically makes sense that we experience every sign for 30 days. For Scorpio, we will experience it from October 22nd through November 21st of this year. And basically what happens with Scorpio, the season of Scorpio, yes, Scorpio is associated with death and endings, but we have to remember it's more of the metaphysical than the literal. Just look at the world around you and look at the leaves changing. We notice death of nature happening around us, but we ask ourselves, is the tree really dying because it is releasing its leaves? No, it is preserving what it needs to preserve so that it can survive throughout the winter. And that right there, my friends, is the whole metaphor for the time of Scorpio. It's not about dying or about, a severe traumatic ending of some sort. It's about letting go of what you no longer need so that you can survive. Letting go of that emotional baggage, that karmic baggage. This is the time to let it go. Kind of picking back on where we left off with the full moon that happened a couple of days ago. Remember, there was a lot of air energy. Too much lashing out, too much of saying what our opinions are, and not enough reflection. Remember, we lost a lot of water in that full moon. But now is the time for introspection. We should not be lashing out. We shouldn't be talking to other people. We should be talking to ourselves during this time. Asking ourselves, what do we need to let go? Remember, Pluto is interacting with us a lot right now. He's telling us we need to let go. He's making things unstable on purpose. And especially now during the season of Scorpio, letting go, evolving and adapting and letting go of just patterns of behavior and patterns of our MOs that no longer serve us. This is the time to understand, comprehend, transmute, and release. And that is your goal for the next 30 days. So having said all that, let's break it down and get to how we reach those conclusions. First thing I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at the placements of the planets along the zodiac and see if we have anything in terms of dignity and debility. The good news is that the moon is incredibly happy because the moon is in Taurus. And when the moon is in Taurus, she is in her exaltation. The moon is very happy in Taurus. There she can grow, she can harvest, she's well grounded. We had a lot of instability at the full moon internally, and now we kind of have a little more groundedness. We kind of understand, okay, why am I on a rocky and shoddy foundation? Now with the moon in exaltation, we have more groundedness. We're able to come up with that answer. Mercury in Libra, again, not really doing anything, but we must remember that Mercury is still stationed. He is still moving slowly. This still makes it hard to voice ourselves, to communicate, even with ourselves. Again, this is why we need to be less on an air channel and more on a water channel. Care less about reaching conclusions and care more about just figuring out, what do I feel? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? Where is it coming from? Where is it stemming from? We need to get to the root, get to the heart of the matter during this time. Scorpio is a great time to get to the heart and the root of the matter. Venus, neither here nor there in Sag. However, we remember when Mars is in Libra, he is in his detriment. So Mars is still kind of grumpy. It's still hard to relate to people, still hard to meet people halfway. But the reason why is because we're still not grounded within ourselves. Before we can connect with other people and sacrifice our ego and swallow our pride, we first need to acknowledge our pride, acknowledge our ego, and put that in check. So again, it's hard to create any personal relationships right now. It's hard to meet people halfway, but this is a great step towards that direction because we are realizing what is preventing us from doing that within ourselves. So this is a great time for introspection, a great time to be honest with ourselves, and a great time to be open to releasing to the things that are just holding us back. Jupiter in Aquarius, neither here nor there, but remember Saturn is the traditional ruler of Aquarius, so he does enjoy being in Aquarius. But remember, like last time, although Saturn is happy in Aquarius does not necessarily mean Saturn is helping anyone. This is the same thing in this chart. Although he is in the ruler, a sign of rulership, he is still not very happy, not really helping anyone out anytime soon. So here now with that, we have the general idea of how the planets are doing. Let's look at our elements and modalities and see if we have any imbalances there. So let's count our cardinals. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 cardinals. 1, 2, 3, 4 fixed, and 2 mutable. So our cardinal energy has gotten a little more balanced at the last full moon we looked at. We had a lot of cardinal energy. Things are balancing a little bit more, a little more harmony. We're starting to feel that within ourselves, a little more balance, a little more groundedness. So that's a good sign. It gives us room to have that introspective work with ourselves, that little us time, a little counseling self time. All right, great. So that's good. Let's look at the elements. We have 1 fire, 1, 2, 3, 4 air, 1, 2, 3 earth, and 2 water. Again, the elements have gotten kind of more balanced, but not really. Still a lot of air, a little bit help with the water, but again, no fire, no initiation, no this is what I gotta do, I gotta do it. We're still kind of stuck in the mud a bit, and because we're stuck in the mud, we're lashing out with air. We're going, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, you're the problem, and we're not asking ourselves, are we the problem? How are we contributing to this? Now that we have a little more water, we're able to be a little more introspective, but again, because we lack that fire, we lack initiation. So what I'm trying to say is, during the time of Scorpio, we might go, okay, I see the problem, I see where I need to swallow my pride, but due to lack of fire, we don't take initiation. We don't. So let's say, like, I'm having a conflict with a coworker, and the whole time before this point, I thought it was their fault, they're in the wrong. But now during the Scorpio time, I'm doing a little more introspection, a little more realization. I'm like, no, actually, I made some mistakes. I see where I was in the wrong. But because we lack fire, we don't take the initiation to go to that coworker and say, you know what, I'm sorry, this is where I was wrong, let's mend that gap. Because we don't have any fire, we're not doing that initiation. But at least we have a little more water, and we're a little more cognizant of our contribution to the turmoil that is now in our lives. Remember, it takes 2 to tango. And I want you to remember that mantra during the time of Scorpio. It takes 2 to tango. Ask yourself, how are you contributing to the chaos you are currently facing? It's not just the world that's out to get you. You are contributing to the chaos. So you need to figure out how you are contributing so that you can negate that, so that you can proceed on, mend the gaps, and proceed forward. I think that the time for that will be in November, when the sun moves into Sag. We'll have a little more fire energy. But until that time, introspect, reflect, and figure out what's going on and how you are contributing to the negativity around you. Great. So now we want to look at the aspect grid and see if any aspects are in play. We're only going to look at the sun through Pluto here because the rising signs are not relevant at this time. Again, we're only going to look at applying aspects. These are aspects that are approaching, aspects that are developing and building, and aspects that are still relevant. Separating aspects are aspects that have already happened, so they're not really of use to us during a chart like this where we're looking at mundane events like this. So I have my highlighter. I'm going to go down and highlight ones where I see an A. These are applying aspects, aspects that are relevant. And also I'm going to only highlight major aspects: conjunction, sextile, square, trine, and opposition. And that's all of them. Again, like last time, we don't really have a lot to work with. And again, because of these wide orbs, a lot of these applying aspects are still not really relevant. Like right here, the trine. I wish that was relevant because it's a trine, but the orb is too wide with a 9. Same here with the 7, too wide. Even with the 6, too wide, too wide. Now, the only one that's in play is still kind of not really relevant because we have an orb of 4. Classically speaking, when we look at these charts in the classical framework, 3 degrees or less is significant. And although 4 is close to 3, I will kind of consider it and say that this aspect is somewhat in play, but still with out of bounds of the traditional context in which we, the traditional thresholds that we use for these kind of charts. And this is the Venus, oops, I apologize. This is Venus in Sag, squaring Neptune in Pisces with an orb of 4 degrees. So not very wide, very wide, not very strong. Let's look that more into context and see how that plays out in the charts. Basically, again, it just ties back to the inability to have personal relationships. Remember, Venus is about meeting people in the middle, harmony, peace, and Neptune is all about the fog of confusion. We can't figure out what the problem is. We can't mend the gaps. We can't mend the wounds because we ourselves still think that the other person's the problem. We're not understanding how we are the problem. But now is the time to figure out how we are contributing to the problems we are facing. So let's look at that aspect here in person. Here it is, Venus in Sagittarius at 16 degrees. Here we have Neptune at 20 degrees in Pisces, and here we have that square configuration. Again, very loose, 4 degrees here, not that tight, not that significant. What is more significant is that we've actually, let me use this one. We have a little more water now going on with that transition. We have a little more balance in our mutability, and thankfully we have a exalted moon, so we're more grounded, we're a little more introspective. Again, release the air. No more social media. Don't try to resolve because you're still thinking that you're in the right. You're not in the right. No one's in the right now. Everyone has to admit where they have been wrong. We have to sacrifice the ego a bit, work on that, use these 30 days to work on that, and you'll be better off and you'll be able to finally mend those wounds later on. But remember, the whole theme here, if it's debilitating, if it's deteriorating, let it deteriorate, and just work on yourself. Ask yourself, how did I allow myself to get to that position? That is the basic analysis for this chart. The next chart we will be looking at will be Mars ingressing into Scorpio. That will happen on the 30th of October. Until that time, I wish you the best of luck on your astrological journey, and namaste.